Beasley TV. What's up, y'all? This is the NBA Top 10 What Ifs, and this is number 10, DeJuan Wagner. Crazy quick, crazy fast, had a ball handle like today's players. Really could have fit better in this situation. He was shooting a deep three. He was flashy. I like that pass, even though it kind of got intercepted. But he was flashy. He scored 100 points in Camden, Jersey. New Jersey high school basketball game. His son is the number one player in 2023. So he was a ball list. The genes. He could have been great. Jay Williams, in the 2002 NBA draft. Also, he was the second pick in the same draft. DeJuan Wagner. He was supposed to be an all-star. He could get to the rim. Really good jump shooter. He's a solid three-point shooter. Really good mid-range shooter. Can get to the rim with either hand. Floor general point guard. He went to Duke. He was in that system and Duke, so he knows how to spread the ball around. His career started off pretty good on the Bulls. The Bulls weren't good. Other than him, it was just Jalen Rose, but he was supposed to be good. Greg Oden had everything, man. He was athletic. He was big. He was strong. Block shots. Was solid offense. He was more solid offensively than people give him credit for. I feel like we didn't see his offensive potential because he was on the floor long enough. But he was just too big and strong for his body. 7 foot 280. That's a big body. His knees couldn't keep up with him. But when him, Brandon Roy, and LaMarcus Aldridge played together, I forgot the record, but they rarely lost when they all was on the floor. Sam Bowie, the infamous Sam Bowie. Everybody talks about how he was from Michael Jordan and he's a bust, but he's not a bust because of talent. He's not a bust because of talent. Excuse me. The man had talent. You see the fadeaway in the post. He blocking shots, can shoot the ball, can pass. Athletic. His body just couldn't keep up. In today's game, if Sam Bowie was drafted this year, he'd be the number one pick. He would be the number one pick because he could do everything this modern game will want you to do. He's quick. He'd probably be able to guard some on the perimeter a little bit. He's really good on the pick and roll when it comes to defense. He got the mid-range jumper. He had the three too, but it was before his time. So he just couldn't consistently stay on the floor. He played 11 years, but only played in 500 games, which is nowhere near how many games you're supposed to play for 11 years. And it's 82 games a season, so 11 times 82, y'all do the math. Supposed to be at least 900 plus games, but he was before Michael Jordan. And you know how that goes. That comes with a lot of pressure. But no one knew at the time. It's Brandon Roy, B. Roy. He was my second favorite shooting guard in the league growing up. First was D. Wade. But in the West, it was Brandon Roy because Brandon Roy could do everything. He had no weaknesses. He can get to the rim. He got the mid-range jumper. He had a three. He could be a point guard at times. He wasn't bad defensively. He wasn't all world, but he wasn't bad defensively. Could have been the Hall of Fame. Bill Walton. Now he is in the Hall of Fame. I don't think he should be. But if DRose gets in the Hall of Fame, then I'm cool with it. So Bill Walton, he started off as a superstar for the Trailblazers. He was an MVP. He won them a championship. He was an all NBA team. He was all defender. Yeah, he was all NBA defender. I'm messing up. He was a great at outlet passes. He was a great passer in the post. He can make any shot in the post. He was a great player. But injuries. Only played about 500 games in his career. He kind of had a comeback season with the Celtics, where he was Sixth Man of the Year and helped them win the championship in '86. One of the best teams of all time. He was the Sixth Man. So, hey, he had a good career. Ralph Sampson, the 7'4" athletic beast. He went to the University of Virginia. Yeah, he went to the University of Virginia. Balled out there. Him and Sam Bowie were almost on the same team. That would have been crazy college team. But he got drafted to Houston, and then Houston got Olajuwon, and they were the Twin Towers. They went to a finals early on, him and Olajuwon. So just think, man, they could have been something, man. I don't know if Jordan could have stopped them, because who Longy can't guard both of them. Rodman can't guard both of them, but it is what it is. Penny Hardaway, nobody call him Anthony, but it's Penny Hardaway. He was a beast. He was a 6'7", big athletic guard, floor general, crazy with the passes, crazy on the handles, could score if he wanted to, was a solid scorer, averaged about 20 points a game in his prime. They was calling him, Baby Magic, the next Magic. And he could have been if he could just stay healthy. He had some good years after he left the Magic with the Suns, but he couldn't stay healthy. In my opinion, I don't know. I really like Penny. He probably won't make the Hall of Fame. If I had a Hall of Fame, he'd be in it. But, things happen. Can't do nothing about it. He was crazy talented. I wish Shaq would have stayed there. Maybe if Shaq would have stayed there, he wouldn't have got hurt, because maybe he wouldn't have had all the pressure on his body and his mental to be the number one option on that team, because, Horace Grant was at the end of his career, and those other guys, Nick Anderson and Dennis, forgot the name, but 3D, they wasn't going to do it for him. Lynn Bias. So, Lynn Bias was one of the biggest one if she got drafted by the Celtics, number 2 pick, and they had Reggie Lewis, who was a good young star. Then they drafted Lynn Bias, so Larry Bird was, he was thinking about retiring soon, because they had their future, but that didn't last long, because two days after the draft, not even 2 days, soon after the draft, Lynn Bias was dead, from an overdose on drugs. And there was a lot of people overdosing back then. His own brother died a similar death like that, but, times was hard. He could have been Hall of Famer. DRose. This one is heartbreaking because nobody knows how high his ceiling could have been. His ceiling could have been best, maybe top. I don't know about best point guard of all time, because I feel like Magic is always going to be the best point guard of all time. But he could have been second. Could have been second best point guard. Could have been a top 15, top 20 player of all time. MVP at 22. Most athletic point guard of all time. All the people talking about Westbrook. No, DRose. His handle was crazy. His change of direction was crazy. His bunnies, man, it's crazy. That dunk on Dragic will forever be classic. And I'm a Heat fan. I love Dragic, but that's gonna forever be classic. Like, I don't know why he jumped. Why did he jump? Nobody told him to jump. He shouldn't jump. Like, nah. I would have been looking at the coach like, what you want me to do, DRose? That year, DRose was the MVP. If it wasn't for the Heat and LeBron, probably would have won the championship, because I don't see OKC beating DRose. They ain't got no answer for DRose. What was they gonna do with DRose? But speaking of DRose, this is somebody he got a lot of inspiration from. This is our honorable mention, Benji Wilson from Chicago, played for Simeon High School. His life was taken on the first day of the season. By somebody named Moore. They shot him outside the school. He was talking to his girlfriend, and this guy, he bumped into a guy, and it became an altercation, and unfortunately his life was taken, but he was the number 1 player in 1984 going into his senior season. I believe he had talent to go pro. Just think how good the 1984 draft would have been if Benji was in it. The draft with Michael Jordan, Charles Barkley, and all of them. Just think how good. Do you think Benji would have went over Sam Bowie, I believe so. You think Benji would have went over Michael Jordan? On potential, I believe he would have went before Michael Jordan too at that time. Hakeem, I don't know if he would have been over Hakeem, but it's safe to say he would have been a good player.